Hey guys, Sean Bougie, surplusfundsriches.net, and today we're going to talk about what documents you need to have in place to make a claim. Now remember, we do this a lot differently than anybody else. We've been doing this longer than anybody else. We've worked way more cases than anybody else, tens of thousands of cases, no kidding. We know this business better than anybody, and we built our program from the ground up. We did not buy anybody else's program, which I don't think anybody else can say, frankly, because we figured this out with the help of attorneys to get it right. Works any state you want to work in, pretty much. We don't work Oregon, Washington State, or Colorado out of choice, and Florida for us is a separate ebook. But what I want to talk about today is the documents you're going to need to make a claim. Now, some areas, all you're doing is filling out a form. I understand that. But there's documents you're going to need not only for the court or for whoever you're interacting with. We use attorneys, so we have our attorneys do all of this, right? So we don't have to figure out what the court needs or respond to court anything, right? Some states, they actually require that there's a motion done on by an attorney on behalf of the claimant. That's why we always use attorneys, and it's good there. Plus, we can use the attorney's trust account to break out the check when the court cuts the check to the claimant name. We don't have to worry about cashing it, right? I mean, these other guys aren't addressing any of this stuff. But here's the documents that we actually ask our guys for, and this is because the court will often ask for these documents, or it's a way to make sure that you're not chasing a dead deal. Listen carefully. This is a way to make sure you're not chasing a dead deal, okay? First document. Obviously, we want a list. That list will specify usually case name, sometimes not. We teach you how to backwards engineer stuff, but case name and dollar amount. It has to have a surplus amount on it. You're not trying to backwards engineer that. It has a surplus funds amount on it. Okay. Sometimes it's just a surplus funds amount and then a parcel ID number, and we teach you how to figure out who the owner was at that time. So that's the first thing that's interesting to me, is a lot of these guys aren't teaching you how to use lists where they're incomplete. Of course, you need to be able to do that. But once you get that, there's a couple things you're going to need, either for yourself or for the court. One, you need to have a deed showing the transfer of the property at the time of the foreclosure or shortly thereafter. In other words, you have to know that the property not only sold, but that the county transferred ownership to someone else. Otherwise, if the ownership has not transferred, and in some counties they don't, it's very rare, but some counties they don't transfer it right away. They wait during a short redemption period and they don't even transfer the deed. Some counties actually transfer the deed, some don't. If they didn't transfer the deed, we don't want to work it, because if they haven't transferred the deed, you can't go after the money 99% of the time. Okay? Do you guys understand now why we say there's research involved? These other guys online going, oh my God, you get a list, and then you take that list and you just call those people and make a deal, and oh my God, you're going to be rich. Money Fairy's going to drop this money underneath your pillow. You're going to be set, right? That's what you hear. That's bullshit. Okay? You've got to check, make sure that the last owner, two things. One, that the property actually transferred at the sale or after the sale. Secondly, that the last owner listed on that list was the actual owner at the time of the foreclosure. Sometimes they'll quick claim it to a family member thinking that'll get him out of the foreclosure. Sometimes somebody will try to buy it and make a back end play for the surplus. Crazy crap happens, right? So you got to make sure you've got the actual person that owned it prior to the foreclosure. Then you got to make sure also there was an additional debt against the property, because if there was, that debt is entitled to the surplus in front of the owner. Not hard to do, guys. Recorder's office or register of deeds, we teach you how to do it. But you're going to need that documentation. We also like to see a copy of the tax record, because it'll actually show deed transfers sometimes. Also because it shows us that you started on the right foot, right? We also like to see a copy, besides of the surplus funds list, we also like to see a copy of a screenshot where you actually checked debt. You were actually searching deeds and mortgages and deeds of trust. Some courts are going to require that you actually prove that there was not additional debt. Now, The way we do it, you're showing us that any additional debt was satisfied. Okay, that's your job. If you're going to be a researcher with us, you got to show, okay, this debt. It'll say right in there, mortgage, recorded instrument number, or book and page number, such and such, satisfied, canceled, released, terminated, whatever. It's great for us to have that, because if the court was to bring up, hey, there was additional debt here we need to pay, we go, no, that was satisfied. Okay. What I'm trying to say is, we don't ask for stuff. We don't ask for documents for giggles. We're not making up work for people. The stuff that we require and show you how to do, especially, if you're doing it on your own too, guys, we teach you how to do it on your own in the programs. It's required for a reason. And if you don't do this, you're going to be chasing crap, and you're going to be one of the people that buys somebody else's program and comes back to me. 30% of my buyers started with someone else, and then they come to me because they failed with that program because they weren't told, hey, research debt, double check you got the right owner, make sure the deed was transferred. These are basic steps. They are not hard. And the only thing I can think of why these other guys aren't telling you that, or aren't pushing it, I should say, though they may even mention, oh, you might want to do this, but don't worry about it, is they want it to seem easier than it is. It's not hard. They want to make it look like the money fairy is going to drop money under your pillow and everything's going to be easy and nice, and you're going to be a multimillionaire driving a Ferrari with women all around you in front of a mansion. That's crap. You can make a ton of money in this business, but guess what? There's a little bit of work involved.